What is going on, everybody? I hope you all are doing well. I have been gone for a quick minute. I ended up having knee surgery 3 weeks ago, which caused me to take a break. I had filmed a couple things right before my knee surgery, and I had hoped to get them out, but I decided I didn't want to. There were some Yu-Gi-Oh pack openings, which was kind of random. So I decided to just take a quick break, but I am back now, and to kick it off, we're going to go through a collection pickup I made back in, I think it was April this year, or it was right before PSA had closed. It was either right before or right after. I don't know. I picked up a couple collections right in there. But yeah, so this collection was a local deal. I have a little ad popped up on Craigslist, just looking to buy people's collections. And I get some decent hits off that. I'll probably get like at least one person a week right now that reaches out to me. I'd say 7 out of 10 of them I won't. I'll pass on. I'll just tell them to go to a couple local shops or try to sell it on their own because it's just stuff I'm not interested in. It's either heavily played or just like commons and uncommons from like base jungle fossil. But this gentleman reached out to me. He's a little bit older than me, which I think he was about like 33, 34, and he had a collection from when he was a kid, and he had collected it with his dad. And like many of you know, whenever you hear that, when they collect it with their fathers, it's generally in a much better condition, just because the older you get, the more you know to keep things in better condition. So he reached out to me, and I met up with him, and I went through his collection. It took me about I spent about 45 minutes going through his cards and just talking with him. He had a pretty good idea of what he had, which cards were valuable and which cards weren't. And so the way I like to do things is when I go through a collection, because you really don't have a ton of time, unless it's a really large collection and you schedule some time outside of the original meetup. So what I like to do is I usually make like 4 or 5 different piles of condition and value. This collection consisted of about 82 cards, and of those, 41 of them are going to appear in this video, and those are the cards that are in good condition, of which I am going to grade once PSA reopens. The other 40 were some hollows and non-hollows that just weren't in that great of condition or not worth a ton. So the first thing I do when I go through cards is I'll typically remove them from the sleeves that they have them in, if they have them in sleeves, and I'll put them in a brand new penny sleeve. That way I can handle them. I don't have to worry about the old dust from the old sleeve on the card. So I'll kick it off by going through and putting them in different piles. Anything that's like $20 or under, I'll put in its pile, and then I have like a $20 to $40 pile, a $40 to $60 pile, and then a 60 and up pile. In this case, I had a lot of cards that are above that $60 range and a lot of cards that were under. I think the original lot had about 20 non-hollows or 20 hollows in it that were damaged or played. And when I'm making an offer on our collection, I usually don't consider the damaged or heavy played cards in the price, unless it's like a card I know I can sell for a decent amount, like a base set Charizard or something like that. So anyway, so I split these piles up, and off the bat, I'll tell you I paid $2,500 for this collection. And of the cards that I'm not going to grade, I made a lot and put all the damage and heavy play cards up on eBay. And it was about, I want to say I combined it with some other collection purchasing that I had done. So I had about 30 hollows from Base Jungle Fossil, Team Rocket, those sets, gym sets, all up in one listing, put it at 99 cent auction, and it sold for like $460, just all the hollows. And then I threw in a bunch of like non-hollow rares and stuff from those sets. So that put my cost basis at this collection. Let's say I think it was on $2,100 after that sale, which put this at just over $49 a card. So here we go. First up is Lapras. This card's in really good shape. It's really, really clean. I actually think this one does have a shot at a 10. There's really no whitening on the back. The hollow's really clean. The centering's really nice. So that'll be a nice card to come back a 10 even from the Unlimited. And then we'll go up to Celebi, Unlimited Celebi from one of the Neo sets. Pretty clean as well. The back looks really nice. I always love meeting collectors like that. It was actually kind of fun. He had a price in mind he wanted, like a minimum he'd take, and then his top price that he wanted. I asked him after I made him an offer. I think I offered him 2,100. I mean, he gave the price first, and I think he wanted like 3,400. I offered him 2,100, and we met in the middle at 2,500. And after we were done, after we shook on it, and I had him paid up, I asked him what the minimum he would take, and he said 1,800. So, oops. Anyways, I got a good deal. He got more than his bottom dollar. He had done some good research on the value of these cards, so I think it was pretty fair. It ended up being, this is a decent risky play. A lot of these cards will go into my personal collection. I think there's a little bit of a lag, maybe not. Ow, now, brown cow. Oh, pretty good. A lot of these will go in my personal collection to fill holes in these sets, but I do plan on selling a lot of these. And like everyone knows, the graded card market, especially for the vintage stuff, and modern too, but really everything has taken a pretty big dive. So these cards, at a cost basis of like $49 a card, I'm not at too much of a risk. It really just depends on when PSA opens up and for what price point. If I decide to grade all these at, if they come back with a bulk at being $50 a card, I'll probably will hold these raw for a while longer. Just because at a cost basis of 50 a card and a $50 grading fee, $100, some of these aren't selling for too much than $100 in a PSA 9. Some of these are really clean. Like you can tell the back of these are really nice. I think majority of these are 9 candidates, and I think I'll get some 10s out of here. So if I hit the 10s on some of the big hitters, then I'll be very happy. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, you can look at the hollow pattern. It's really clean. So a lot of these cards are really minty. There's some I'll show you that are not so minty. Unlimited. Blossom. I think, I actually picked one of my graded card lots that came back earlier. I got this in a 10 unlimited, so that's pretty exciting. We got a first edition Heracross. This card's really notoriously hard to get a 10 in. The back of this, I think, would have a shot at a 10. See if I can get it. There is definitely a print line. You can kind of see it right above my finger there. But yeah, really clean copy. Here we got a first edition Jumpluff. I got a couple of these in 9s right now. I think one's still up on my eBay page, but really clean. I'm pretty confident that'll come back a 9. Then we have a Kingdra. This actually is a low pop card, and I graded one into 10 recently, and I think I actually have 3 of these in a 10 now. It's kind of dumb, but a couple popped up for auction at the end of last year, and I just thought they were too cheap for a 10. I think the pop's like 24 or 25 on this card. We'll see if it grows much more. I don't think it will. And then we got Skarmory, Neogenesis. It's pretty clean. Yeah, this guy had dug his collection out of his closet. He said he had a daughter. I think his daughter was like 2 or 3 years old. And he wanted to put it in a custodial IRA account for her and see what happens. So, he got some money from it, and, he just held on from a kid, and, it was cool. He actually he told me he was going to keep my contact information and tell some of his buddies that he had talked to that had some cards. I haven't heard from anyone from him yet, but you never know. Here's Tyranitar. I mean, this is a great card. This is a really clean copy. This is definitely a hole in my collection. I'm trying to collect all these sets in first edition, and I'm doing pretty good on it. But the unlimited it's kind of unique with the Neo sets. Some of the unlimited stuff has much lower pops in the first edition. Historically it could have just been from, the ones that were grading, for the past 20 years were only really interested in the first edition. So we'll see if the unlimited catches up at all. But some of them are just so hard to grade from these sets that, the unlimited may very well likely have lower population reports than the first edition. And only history will tell us, looking back on what means more. That first edition stamp is pretty hard to get over, but when you have a card that's a pop, pop 5, pop 10, pop 20, it really may not matter. Like this Umbreon is super clean. Has to be one of my favorite artworks from the Wizard of the Coast sets. It's just super. I mean, that moon, it looks like a picture. I mean, it's just fantastic. Super clean copy. But yeah, like some of these are in great condition. Here's a Kabutops. This is another really great artwork. This one's pretty rough. Not pretty rough. It's got some whitening there on the bottom, but it's not terrible. I'll still get it graded. Here's a Fortress. Pretty easy card from this set to get in a 10. The hollow pattern isn't that popping. It's pretty dark, so scratches are hard to see. And no one was taking this to the playground to show off to their buddies. Then we got a couple Mews. These always sell really well. I've graded several of these, and they always sell pretty quickly. These are in pretty good condition. You know, I think these will both get 8s. But yeah, we've got some more. We got some Blaine's Moltres, first edition. Great card. We kind of got like a little double swirl action going there. That's pretty cool. Pretty good condition. This will probably come back in 8. So yeah, like I was saying, pretty risky purchase at the time with PSA backlog happening. I think this was before PSA shut down, but even then it would take over a year to get these back. And with the market kind of in a steady decline, making these big collection purchases are definitely risky. They were home runs in the past. You could really do well on them, and I've done really well on them, even being in this a little over 2 years now. But you know, you buy it now, and then with grading fees, you know, you're likely not going to get these back for over a year, and who knows what the market's going to be like then. If it continues on this trend, you know, it's going to get harder and harder to make these long-term plays or these long-term predictions. I guess, you know, short-term is not really long-term. Long-term is 5 years plus, but, you know, it's definitely risky. Here's an Erica's Clefable. This is definitely a hole in my collection, and this is a really, really clean copy. I think this one has a shot out of 10. When I was packaging this one up, or sleeving it up, I mean, there is nothing wrong with that hollow. So I'm pretty hopeful that this will come back at 10. That would be pretty sweet. What was that one? Rocks right on. And then here we have an Erica's Dragonair Unlimited. Pretty cool card. This is a pretty popular artwork. I don't have this in Unlimited yet, but I'll probably end up selling this and trying to upgrade to the first edition. Yeah, so back on topic. I keep on rambling, so sorry about that. So one thing I did was I still am looking to buy these collections because a lot of people are taking a break from it, and I think there's going to be some good opportunities, especially if you believe in Pokemon long term, to pick up some of these collections that some of the bigger guys aren't looking at. So one thing I'm doing is that when I go to buy a collection like this, you carefully inspect the cards. I'm lagging right now. That's really annoying. So don't watch my face. But so one thing I do is I'll take a card, and let's say I'm pretty confident it'll get a 9 and a chance at a 10. And let's say I have a 9 in my own personal collection. I've been pulling those out and selling them in the current market. And so far I've done well with that. I sold some first edition Charizards from Team Rocket. Some base set Charizards graded in a 9 over the past 4 months. Because I have more in my collection raw that I'm very, very confident will come back that 9. So I'm pulling cards, selling them in the current market because I believe the market is continued to have a downturn for the next year or so as PSA works through their backlog. So in that case, let's say in 6 months, I get those cards back. Or I send those cards off are graded and they come back a 9. Well, they'll just fill that personal hole, and I know I've kind of locked in my profits on that card that I had previously graded. So that's just a strategy I've been doing. And the risk with that is those cards that come back, they don't come back the grade I wanted, and then I have to pay more or I don't get that card back. Nothing I'm selling is that rare or scarce. They're all set cards, so I'm not really too worried about that. Basically, I'm looking at it. The cards I am selling is if I'm confident that I can come across them again, or the cards that are going to be found in any kid from the 90s closet. And if it's a yes to those questions, then I'm pretty comfortable selling in this current market. Nothing I bought was at the highs of last year. Everything I have in my collection for the most part is cards I've graded myself or cards that I thought were undervalued back in October, November, December of last year, which were basically cards from the Neo sets. We got a Misty's Tentacruel. Pretty clean copy. So yeah, I've kind of rambled in this video, but just like sharing some of my process, and just keep in mind that I'm definitely not an expert in this. I've been doing this for 2 years. There's some great channels out there with guys that have been doing this a lot longer, that know a lot more. So just take whatever I say with a grain of salt. You know, some of those channels that come to mind, Catch 'em All Collectibles. He's a good one. He's been doing this for a while. You know, the big ones that everyone's aware of. Stick to those. The Rocket's Trap. Yep, my dogs just got back from their walk with my wife. Blaine's Arcanine. That's a nice copy. Pretty clean. I think that's a shot at a 9. Yeah, just try to soak up all the knowledge you can in this market. There's a ton of great YouTube channels out there of guys that have been doing this a long time, and they're just sharing a ton of knowledge for free. You know, TCA Gaming, Catch 'em All Collectibles. Actually, and I'm going to take a pause real quick, and I'll just rattle off some of the guys that I think are really trustworthy and good to keeping your channel viewership. Let's go to subscribers. Go home. Go to my subscriptions. Yeah, so like Pokenomics, SM Pratt, Z&G Emporium, Cardinal Gaming, Squeak Game World. All those guys have been doing this for a long time. You know, check out Z's Flips. He's the second channel for Z&G Emporium. TCA Gaming. You know, those are great channels. They share a lot of free information. You know, Danny Fantup's good guy. Pokémon Classics. Those are some good channels that give out a ton of information for free. So I definitely encourage you to check them out if you haven't already. Nice Koga's Ditto. I've created like 3 or 4 of these in a 9 for first edition in the past year. Not a difficult card to grade. There's just no hollow pattern to really get scuffed. Here's a great card. We got a Rockets Mewtwo. Also a pretty easy card to get into 10 or at least a high grade, just because the hollow box is a lot smaller due to having 2 attacks and that ability. Yeah, pretty clean. Got a Rocket Zapdos. Man, I thought this was going to be a 10-minute video. I've rambled on for almost 20 minutes. Sabrina's Alakazam, Unlimited. We have a Giovanni, Unlimited. And then last but not least, he had a Shadowless Venusaur. He didn't know that this was Shadowless, so he was excited when I told him. And it's always kind of fun sharing that experience, that knowledge with people. And I was able to give him a little more for this card than he was expecting. He had priced this out at the Unlimited Venusaur, so I was able to give him quite a bit more for that. I think this will come back an 8, maybe a 7. It does have some decent whitening on the back, but yeah, so that's a lot. All in, after the cards I sold, my price point is about $49 a card. So I just got to wait and get them graded and wait till his grading fees come down, if they will. You know, it might take a while, but I'm comfortable with this purchase, and hope you enjoyed. And thanks for letting me ramble. Appreciate it. You guys take care.